Hello and welcome to Who Dares Rolls and Mumbo Jumbo for some indiscriminate time in the near future. No point giving a date on this because, as you've seen in the last video, it doesn't always come out in time. Problems occurred, but we're moving on from that. This is a Mumbo Jumbo for sometime in March. I'm your host, Mike B. Here we are, in a special Batman-centric episode. I say this only in regards because I'm going to discuss the new movie and a little bit else related to Batman. I have a t-shirt on. That has no relevance on the rest of what we're going to talk about, but it's there now. It's out there. So, how are you all? Everyone all right? Good? All fine? Did anyone go to aircon this weekend? I would like to know if you did. What did you find about it? Was it good? I miss cons, and I think I'm hoping maybe finances being aware and all that. I don't know, but I want to try and get to the UK Games Expo this year. It might be tight to do it, but I feel like I need to, and be damned at this point. We shall see. Anyway, hopefully you had some games in. If you were at Acon, I presume you did get lots of games played, which was lovely. If not, I hope you've enjoyed yourself in some capacity. And I did a little bit, so let's get to that. What did I play? Played. So played stuff is very low on the ground. Friday we were going to play some stuff. Ben wasn't going to be available. Justin then dropped out at the last minute, leaving me, Robbie and Bob. And I did take along Australia, Sanctum and Abomination, which are all kind of games I quite fancied the idea of getting to the table again and playing. And then we ended up playing Mario Party because basically the other two couldn't really be asked. And at that point I was like, I kind of regret that to a point because I wish we had played a full game. But anyway, because I did shit at Mario Party. But so those didn't happen. On Sunday just gone, Ben came to the Sunday crowd. Tony dropped out because he can't organise a piss up in a brewery and so wasn't there. So there was me, Jamie, Robbie and Ben. Ben brought along Legacies. Not in any way actual legacy related, but Legacies. We've discussed this. I have discussed this in some degree over the last few episodes, videos, definitely in the it is, I should know all this stuff really. I should have, by this point in time, made a point and effort of actually knowing who the designer of this game is, which I haven't, which makes me a bad Mike. So I'm just going to find out. Having completed my due diligence, I can say the designer of Legacies is Jason Brooks. I believe it comes from Brooks Spun Games. It was a Kickstarter, I would say last year or so. It's not seeing much buzz in it as such around. Ben obviously had it and we bought it. We've covered this over the last two videos. I will give you, in a nutshell, if you've not watched them, I will give you a very nutshell of what it is basically about. You are playing characters. The game is set over 3 ages, so it starts, say, in the early 19th century, I don't know, and it tracks the generations of your family, the succession of your family line through their businesses and all that sort of stuff to the modern age, we shall say. You have asynchronous powers as an option you have in the game. Some take that elements, you pick them at the start. There's a lot of moving parts we've covered already. There's a stock market side of it, which has effects on various things, how stuff play out. It's kind of worker placement. You've got relationships you make with different characters in the game, some of which are other players at the table, which will give you deficits or perks depending if you're friends or not with them. Legendary characters, I think they are, or famous characters you can make deals with, again give you special perks and abilities. So you do all these actions. There's some card play. You have a couple of cards in your hand, 3 cards in your hand. You play them out. They're multi-use cards. They allow you to interact with the board depending how you play them out. And at the end of this, every age, essentially across the top of the board, there is scoring tiles. So once you've played 2 cards, you can start using those tiles. Using those will give you some lovely buffs, but essentially once they've been played out, 2 of the mandatory ones, there is 2 mandatories, and depending on the player count, anywhere between 3 or 4 of the others will trigger the round end. There's 2 rounds in each age. You get legacy cards come down which affect your kind of an overall overarching power that either is a perk or boon, depending on it is for your character for the next generation as they kind of age. Next family things. So you can work out basically if they're bad cards, it means that your family are a bunch of shitheads. And that's it, if that makes some sense. So there's a lot to chew over. My first interaction with it took us a while to teach and play with Ben. And this has been my third play of it. And I will say at this point, after third play, I finally get it. I get the game. I get all its moving parts. I get what it's doing. So I was able to actually play it this time and kind of play it as opposed to learning stuff. Jamie was new to it, so he was picking up, but he did a good job actually picking up and doing. I played the Socialite on the Take That version of it, which essentially allowed me, my special ability for that character was in the first stage to steal 2 fame, essentially victory points, in the second age 4, I'm going to say, and in the third age 6 victory points from another player. Take it from them and add it to mine. That was pretty much it. So I'm not going to go into the meat and potatoes of all the rules and all that, because if you're interested, then kind of do some homework yourself. There is a lot to cover otherwise. So where am I at with Legacies? In the earlier plays of it, I was left with that lack of appetite to come back and play it. I've played it 3 times now, and so after last night's play, I am left with going, I do like what it does. It is a lot of stuff going on. I think once you manage to get in the headspace of understand it, it's got a lot of stuff I really enjoy. It's got multi-use cards. I love multi-use cards in games. Brilliant. I love all that sort of stuff. There might be a bit of worker placement. I like that. I like the take that element. I like the asynchronous powers. I like that it's got Ameritrash stylings in it. There is random in there. There is a bit of fucking over of other people. There is all the good stuff. It should absolutely ding all my bells, and I should be all over this. And I'm still a little reticent to do that. Having said all that, I think that play last night I really did enjoy much more. I like it. If someone bought it, I would play it again. It still doesn't give me that gotta catch it all feel, as I've said before. It doesn't left me with that percolating in my brain, working out the best route of strategy and desperately gagging the appetite to go back and play it again. There is definitely a bit of that going on. So, and I've played it 3 times and I would play it again. So that's not a bad thing. Let's dissect into some more of it. So yeah, we had a pretty solid game. It was quite tight. It was very tight between me and Ben at the end, actually. It came down to it was like, oof. But I did get all of the bits of it. So there's the legacy, I'm going to say the legacies, whatever, the heirlooms that you can either buy your own and build them and they add to cash value of what you come into the game as you play, or you can buy other people's and then they give you a fame, a victory point reward when you trigger the game heirloom fame during the end game bit. So that I was able to really capitalise on, and I did go down that route. I'm not as far as I could have done. I wish I'd done a little bit more, especially if you buy the 6th heirloom of someone, then you get their special power as well, which would have been probably a handy tool to have. Other than that, the end game scory stuff, so each round, each age, there is some end game things. This time I was able to really engage with that and clock onto those, whereas normally where I sit when we played around there, they've kind of been out of view and they've kind of had so much else going on, I've not focused on it. So I was able to focus on those, and also those what happened at the end of the game and the end of the rounds. Definitely able to capitalise a lot more on that. Having not to do the heavy lifting of everything else that was going on, it was useful to be able to plug in that final bit, which I think was missing the first couple of games I played of it. Just a more rounded feel. So there's that. And there's a lot of tactics to it. There really is a lot of tactics to it. For instance, the first round, I chose to end the round as soon as I could to stop everyone else earning off of the stuff they had kind of procured or done more of that I wasn't going to get a perk out of. So I forced the end of the first round to stop that happening, which I think was a great tactical decision, and I think it's a nice thing that's in there to do. Again, there's random. I will come down to the same thing I had again. Not being able to play your special ability is a real pain in the arse. And in this version, because you randomise some of the board setup, the legendary characters that come down here or whatever they are, previously there was one of them allowed to use your special power. And what was happening in this game, 2 things happened in this game. Definitely me and Ben were doing a lot more of, and Robbie to a certain extent. though he was slower on the uptake. We were playing a lot more cards out, trying to pull as many cards as we can, and those special characters, the ones you can get bumped off of, which allow you to draw a card, also was seeing a lot of more activity than previous games. It is a shame that the special player ability wasn't there, because at the end of the day, I think I only actually managed to trigger it once, maybe twice, in the entirety of the game, which I just find maddening. Robbie did about 4 or 5 times. Again, it may come down to the setups, the variables. If that had been out, then there would have been more of it triggered. It almost feels, and I did say that Ben, I don't know if he agrees with me at the end of it, was I almost feel like I would almost house rule having that special ability person out, just to have it there. Because it's so difficult to pull cards and do that. The card pulls we're having for people, it feels like there is that level around it which I like, but it's almost a little bit too random, which is me disappearing on my own arsehole in the middle of this, in that you can't just, I don't know, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it is so well balanced that the more players on the 6-player version of this, maybe that would really hum. Maybe that's like a finely tuned machine. It has to have the full player count for all of the minutiae to work. I don't know. Now I'm tempted. But yeah, so that was it. A lot more relationship made with me. I did the stock market. I did a lot more manipulation with that, in that I raised my stocks to a certain degree, but held them back. But did invest in other people's, because those were going to help me when I was doing the heirloom fame, because the stock market, where they are in relation to your heirlooms and who you own and what their markets are, is what gives you the good fame. So actually, bunging all your money into stocks is fine if you want money to come out, but if people have got your heirlooms, you're also essentially handing them shit ton of victory points. And I kind of clocked that about a third into the game. I was like, hold on a minute, I don't want that all the way up. I've got enough cash coming in, I can kind of cope, but I want to almost strangle the market to a point to stop everyone else making the best out of my stuff. And I definitely we've not seen nearly as much of that go on, and I think that is another aspect of the game, is that manipulation of that stock market, and actually smartly manipulating it to affect what other people can get out of you is a thing that, again, we've barely seen of in the plays we've done. I've tweaked with it this time, and I can see how that's a power move. So that was kind of cool. I did like grabbing the heirlooms over there. Would have done better with that maybe if I could have got the right stuff. The stuff Robbie cocked up a couple of rounds, which screwed up what I was doing. He was mulliganing again. So anyway, boom, chop all that aside. Legacies. Where am I at the moment? I'm going to review it now, but I'm running through of it. I think if I get one more play of it in, maybe more players, I kind of like it. I think I would feel at that point I could give you a fairly decent review of it. Where I'm at with the moment is it is a solid game. I think it is probably up there to a 7 to an 8 on BGG rating for me. It is one I do enjoy the conundrum of it, and actually it is one of these that slowly unveils more and more and more to it. It is one that needs to invest your time and your playing into it to get the best out of it, which goes for most games, to be fair. And I think this is the problem so often, is it becomes a flash in the pan, it gets played a couple of times and then it just gets moved on for the next hotness or whatever else. I don't know if this has gone to retail. Maybe there's a slightly less blinged version of it out there, in which case, if you're a big fan of that 4xe Euro stuff, that meaty stuff, yeah, I would recommend it. It has got a lot of moving parts. It does take a while to get your head around. It's my third play of it, and only now I'm really feeling like I'm discovering all of its kind of subtleties and getting to that almost optimum level of play. So yeah, I think one more on I'd be probably nailing it. But depending on what you get, there's those variables, as I say. So I like it. I like a lot of it, and I think it's grown on me as it's gone along. I think it is a solid to die. I mean, God, there's a lot of stuff going on here, and the fact that it kind of balances out is pretty solid. It's pretty good. So yeah, Legacies from Jason Brooks. Fair dues. You know what? It's a cracking little game. Not little. It's a fucking huge sprawling Kickstarter game. But yeah, if you're into that heavier, weightier Euro with some amount of trashy stylings, which I love, multi-use cards, lots of really cool stuff going on. I do like all the stuff it's doing. then yeah, you know what? It's pretty fucking good. I will come down now. I think it's pretty fucking good. I want to play some more of it. There you go. Swingy opinion time. Anyway, that's Legacies. That is it. I'm sure at some point down the road I'll get another game in, then I'll attempt to do a review for it, which is only after, would be at that point 4 plays. So I feel like, am I at the point to be able to do that? I think I might be able to. But take what I've just said. I don't think my opinion is going to change massively from where I am now, in that it's a pretty solid game. Don't know the cost on it. Haven't looked, but maybe the unkickstarted version, if you're looking for that heavier game of that ilk. There's a lot to enjoy there. I like the theming, I like the art, I like the design, I like the aesthetics of it. I like what it's doing. It's doing some good stuff, and I like all the different. It's doing a lot of all the good things that I like in combination. Cool. I've talked enough on that. Let's do some news.
Here is the news.
News. Not a lot of news to report, really. Aircon happened the weekend just gone. Obviously, I wasn't there. I would have liked to have gone. It just was too far to go. I don't have the cash to do it at the moment. But I do miss cons. It was nice to see people posting videos and pictures and stuff. It looked like it was solid. Aircon's a cracking convention. I have been a good couple of years ago now and really enjoyed it. And would have loved to have gone this year. Just couldn't. But it looks like it was a lot of fun. If you were there, hey, let me know. How was it? Was it good fun? Good. Excellent. Lovely for you. And maybe, you know what, Expo's on the doorstep. I would like to go. So we'll see. There was also an irking. It's not even a fucking word. There was an utterance that I might even do another live show there, which I've not done one for a few years. They are rowdy affairs, and especially in the new format of what we're doing. Maybe I can get some more people up on the desk. But, you know, live mumbo jumbo, who would not be up for that? And what else is going on? So news-wise, Rear Window, Alfred Hitchcock's Rear Window, has been made into a board game by Funko, I think it is. Prospero Hall and Funko are printing it. Kind of strange, out there, left field almost a point, because they've done recently. Prospero Hall have definitely been mining the 80s movie license thing. I get people are definitely into that sort of stuff, and that's kind of a lot of that is seeing resurgence like Copper Coin and all that sort of stuff at the moment. Rear Window is just a weird choice to a certain extent, because it is I think it's 1950s. Joyce Kelly and Jimmy Stewart. We all know it. It's been remade a couple of times, not as nearly as good as the original. But the idea of Jimmy Stewart broke his leg, he's stuck in an apartment, he's watching across the road, and he thinks he witnesses a murder and stuff going on, and tries to unravel it. So yeah, this, looking at the setup of it, and it looks like, you know, it looks kind of cool. One person will play Alfred Hitchcock, the director, and people are trying to work out through the clues that they are putting in the windows of this display what is going on. So I'm getting a bit Mysterium vibes, bit what else was I thinking of? Something else. That's type of game. It's not one versus many. It's that kind of Mysterium style gameplay of the kind of Cluedo-ish gameplay. It looks aesthetically kind of cool. We could maybe see some more Hitch games of Psycho. I feel, could we get a game of Psycho? What could that be? I kind of like the idea of mining some older movie stuff. I could think of a few things I'd probably like to see. It is a bit different. I mean, especially if it makes it into Target. I can't fucking talk today. Target, you know, it could sell well in the States. So I don't know. We'll see how that does. It looks kind of cool. I don't think it'd be for me as such, because I've got Mysterium. I've played it a few times. I've got the original Portal version, actually, which I thought aesthetically was better than the Asmodee reprint. But it's not a game I played a massive amount of subsequent to originally enjoying it. So, I don't know. Interesting. An interesting thing. Off the back of that, I also see that Portal publishing a bunch of stuff. They have just picked up Brazil Imperial, which I have no idea about. All I know is a 4X game. They're publishing that themselves. They've got Gutenberg on the way. There's another game called Forgle, I think it was, which looks like it looks cool. It's based on a comic book, I think. Art looks astounding in it. So they're kind of doing a lot of more picking up and printing other stuff from Europe and bits and pieces. So that's might be cool for new direction for Portal, getting more stuff out there. I'm not behind that. Clearly, the big thing they've got coming is the Batman detective game, which seemed a no-brainer. Hopefully, that delivers on it. It's very much the comic books. But you know, for many a while, I was saying Batman detective game should be the thing to do. Well, there we go. Let's hope that they don't drop the ball on that, and it is a kind of cool Batman detective game. And speaking of Batman, let's talk about the elephant in the room. No, that's the Batman. The Batman is out at the moment. I am a big Batman fan. I've read Batman for many years. I have a very large Batman collection assembled from sometime in the 80s through to probably late 90s, maybe into the 2000s. I collected Batman, and I mean everything. So Batman Detective, Legends of the Dark Knight, Shadow of the Bat, whatever was coming out at that point in time, I had all of that. And there was some astounding, it's a character I really enjoyed. There's some really good writers, really good artists working on it. So it's personally was my go-to comic book character. I like the fact that his superpower is he is just rich and he's a bit fucked up. And I liked that the comics did a lot more of that detecting stuff. I was always a bit of a big Batman fan. Obviously, we had Burton's Batman in '89, and that kind of set the ball rolling for everything else we've had. And we've had, obviously, Nolan's take on Batman. Matt Reeves as director. Loved some of Matt Reeves' stuff. He's done the Planet of the Apes movies. I think he did the remake of the right one in. He's done some other stuff. He's a solid director. I like what he does. Good cast. We got Patterson, no longer glowy vampire thing, doing his full emo bats. Jeffrey Wright as Commissioner, Lieutenant Gordon in this, which a no-brainer choice. Great actor. Paul Dano as the Riddler via Seven, the Zodiac. Oh, and of course Colin Farrell and shit tons of makeup as the Penguin. You would never know it was him unless you knew it was him. It's a 3-hour-long movie. Number one, does it need to be a 3-hour-long movie? Probably not. It doesn't feel like a 3-hour-long movie. Having sat and watched it, I won't say nips along, but it moves along at a stately pace, but you don't ever get a sore bum, or at least I didn't during it. Granted, I was in quite a nice posh cinema seat. That helped, possibly. Aesthetically, I think it's rather gorgeous at a certain point, though it's quite dark. I do think the first 10 minutes of it are astoundingly well done. It sets up the Gotham. We go back to Burton's feel of Gotham, where Gotham is an entity and a character itself. And it's kind of, whereas Nolan kind of moved away from that in the latter two Batman movies, and it became more Chicago. So I kind of like that we're back to the grim, horrible looking Gotham that we all kind of know and don't love from the comic books and stuff. It's always been this shithole, and we're kind of we've moved back into that. We got a no-kill Batman. He's not into guns and killing now. He's just, he's fucking people up, but he's apparently not killing them. And I think it starts really well. And I won't go into too much. I won't go into any spoilers, but you've essentially got the Riddler has been reimagined as this John Doe serial killer 7 type character with a bit of Zodiac thrown in, which I kind of think works really well, even though it's essentially doing 7 again. It's doing 7 with Batman, and Batman does some detecting, which is kind of a refreshing change. I wish to a point there'd been more of that. I do like the idea of him and Wright doing the thing. It's kind of almost peaks on the edge of brilliance and doesn't quite make it, in my opinion. It's good. I just wish there'd been more of that detecting. I don't think the mystery is that difficult to unravel is the issue I think I have with it. They didn't require the greatest detecting to detect this, really. But I enjoyed the aesthetics and this 70s vibe, and all that was kind of cool. It is a bit bleak. It's got a couple of laughs, but not much in it. It is pretty dark and dreary all the way through. So there isn't much peaks of sunshine in there, to be honest with you. It does get there to a point, but whereas 7 at least had Morgan Freeman's character kind of given them some heart to proceedings, that does feel not quite to be there in this. But yeah, I, on the whole, quite enjoyed it. I think that I have issues with towards the end of it. Definitely, yeah, some issues towards the end. Some of the end is brilliant, how it does something with the character of Batman. There is definitely an Easter egg, something left I'm not certain how I feel about towards the very end, about a certain other character. But we'll see. You know what? Who could have said? But there's obviously something coming along down the road. Yeah, it looks like it. The setup at the start is fantastic. As I say, the aesthetics at the start is brilliant. The idea of how they set up Batman, and especially how the criminal element sees him, that's really good at the start of the movie. I liked all of that, and I did like that he has a character. There is a little bit of an arc to what's gone on. There isn't very much Bruce Wayne in this, which I know is another critique I've heard. Fine, we've got Batman. It's called The Batman, so I kind of get it. But yeah, I kind of like that he was doing detecting stuff in there and being early. This is like year 2 of Batman, so he's kind of still early doors. And to be honest, fine. You know what? If they're going to do a couple of these, which I'm sure they are, maybe the plan is long form to have Bruce Wayne emerge as we go along. I wasn't too pissed off with that. I kind of was in for it. So that's it, really. Yeah, good cast. Colin Farrell was good in it, actually, though bizarre choice to have him and then cover him in makeup, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, on the whole, if you're a big Batman fan, it does what it says on the tin. It's some good moments, certainly. But yeah, it's could have been probably 2 hours, and we probably didn't need that 3 hours, because it is very slowly paced. Just gets on. There's not a lot of massive big action moments. There's a couple, but not much. But it's just slowly paced. But then it kind of works. I enjoyed it. You know what? Sometimes you just want to let stuff kind of, the atmosphere and that dribble all over you. So, you know, that's your thing. Fine. What? There could be worse things in there. Yeah, but good. Yeah, generally on the whole, pretty solid stuff. I enjoyed it. It didn't hang around. I'd be interested to see what's next. So there's obviously going to be something else down the road. I presume we're looking at a trilogy at this point in time. So we'll see, I guess. But, you know, it's kind of cool to see Batman detecting for a change. Though he was a bit emo, but there you go. He's, you know, and there were some other interesting takes on recent events, shall we say, in there. Some good stuff that was kind of, for what some of it's been done already, again, now a bit too much. But yeah, on the whole, interesting to see where it goes next. I've heard utterances that they might be doing something with the Court of Owls storyline, which was pretty damn good for the Scott Snyder run of Batman a few years back. So that's enticed me. Lots of food for thought. Don't know. Let me know if you've seen it. What did you think? Anyway, there you go. That is this is short and sweet and point to the point, I feel, this week, which is sometimes just the way to be. Oh, I watched Spider-Man as well. No Way Home. And that was all right. I won't go into we talk movies. I'll go into more, but it was all right. I enjoyed it. It was good. It was all right. All right. Anyway, that's me done. This is another mumbo jumbo from whenever this came out. There's some more videos on the way that I need to edit, which I've still not done. I apologise profusely for that. Look after yourself. Stay safe. Go and do some stuff. And I'll be back very soon with more of the same stuff that we've done now, but just a slightly different twist on it, maybe. I don't know. There you go. That's all I've got. I'm done. Night. Bye. See you soon.